again. I'm Jay.
I'm Lucy.
And we're here to talk movies. So today's movie is Iron Man, which I think is arguably one of the best movies of the past couple decades. It was the beginning of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Arguably, if Iron Man had been a big flop, I don't even think we would have gotten to any of the Avengers movies or into like the Infinity Gauntlet storyline. But Robert Downey Jr. hit it out of the park, as did Favreau. Even though Downey Jr. at the time was more known for having substance abuse issues than headlining major movies, he did an incredible job, got his life together, and we got an amazing movie and character from it.
Yeah, I think it's cool about Robert Downey Jr. overcoming his substance abuse issues.
Clearly you can tell that my co-host does not like the Marvel movies at all. She feels that they're just too many and pointless.
Yeah.
Which I know there's a lot of them, and some of them are pretty meh, but Iron Man is an example of how you can make a really good movie. I'll admit, some parts that do drag a little bit, like when they're in a cave building the suit the first time.
Yeah.
It does drag a little bit, but otherwise I think it's an incredibly well done and paced movie, and they do a good job of, it doesn't just seem like, oh, Tony Stark can have a suit ready like that, and like there's a lot of early moments of him testing things out and it failing, and it just adds to the sense of he's incredibly smart, but he's not perfect. He's got his flaws.
Is this what sets it apart from the other ones?
No, I just think that, for instance, there are many things about this movie that do relate to the next movie I'm going to pick in a couple episodes, but it's also very relaxed. I think for this movie, he only earned $500,000 compared to by the time the first Avengers movie came out, he got $25 million up front, and I think over $100 million from back end profits. So he's making insane money from it in the end. But this one is they said it was considered pretty much an indie, and Jeff Bridges, who plays Obadiah Stane in it, had said that he did it right at AMA, and he had said he hated the experience of making it up until he just started to think of it as the most expensive student film ever, because I think they were routinely changing up the script and just playing around with things, trying to get it to where they think it should be. Because I know there's even the scene where he's testing out the Jericho missile and it blows up the mountains, and they say that they actually wrote the script or dialogue for that scene just before they started shooting, and the primary reason Downey Jr.'s character is wearing the sunglasses is to cover up the fact that he's pretty much reading the dialogue off of cue cards.
Mm-mm.
So I think there's a lot of looseness to it, which in some ways actually can make a better movie, because then you don't have executives breathing down your neck constantly I don't know if that's going to play, and this might not make enough money, but you want something that's going to be, usually executives want something that's going to make millions and millions, which is understandable, especially with a high budget. But, if you are so focused on, is this going to be good enough with the general audience, you can run the risk of you actually hurt the movie because you're too focused on making it perfect.
Listen. I think it has some good setup. It explains some things that I had questions about before, like what Stark Industries is, and how he became Iron Man, and things like that. I didn't know any of that, so I think it was good for its explanation of things. I thought it had good visual effects, but in my opinion, it's probably not as valid as your opinion, because I think the best movies in the past decades are stoner comedies and Titanic. So I have a weird taste in movies, but it's just these superhero movies are not stories that captivate me. I try so hard to care about it, and I can't.
And I can appreciate that somewhat. As I say,
Yeah.
I don't think all of them are that great, and you do tend to notice for a lot of repetitiveness in the storytelling and whatnot. I'll say, they're not all perfect. Even like the first Iron Man to me is really, really good. The second one definitely suffered from the writer's strike that was happening just before it was put into production. And then the third one feels like kind of a different series almost in a way. But I think they were overall like Downey Jr. is still an incredible performer, and then like as they say, like off camera, like he'll insist on meeting with the directors and the writers and whatnot to come up with alternate lines for scenes so it can feel fresh when they're shooting it. Doesn't if you do 20 takes of a scene, you end up, if you have different lines going, it can make it seem more fun and entertaining, and the actors can stick with it more, I think. And I mean, like, one of the reasons I also wanted to do this was the announcement that Downey Jr. is returning to the Marvel Cinematic Universe as Victor Von Doom. And I know a lot of people are like, is this going to work or is this going to be a disaster? And I gotta believe it'll probably be alright, because I don't think they would do it in a way that's like, well, that's just Tony Stark again. It's like, I think they're gonna very much separate out how Downey Jr. plays Victor Von Doom versus Tony Stark. And I guess even in the comics there are times where Von Doom created like an Iron Maniac outfit, so it's almost like Iron Man, but he's a villain for the most part. I think there's supposed to be some comic storylines where he does heroic things, or he's at least an anti-hero. But I mean, we'll have to see what they want to do, but I do believe that they wouldn't bring him back if they didn't have ideas on how to do it in a smart way. And it's going to be the Russo brothers again, who people have appreciated their Captain America films and the last two Avengers movies.
How is that gonna make any sense if he's Iron Man but also that guy that you said?
You can tell she knows so much about this world. And also, to be fair, you said you had watched Iron Man once before. It sounds like you hadn't. But...
I was 8.
Oh, I was 8.
I'm 20.
Excuses.
Or how old I ever. Yeah.
But anyways, well, some of it too is Victor Von Doom is a character that wears a mask a lot, like similar to Iron Man, but also I think he's supposed to be heavily scarred on his face. So that could benefit him as far as like you can't really tell that it's Downey Jr. underneath the makeup. And I mean, he did do that HBO series, The Sympathizer, where he played like 4 or 5 different characters. I have not watched it yet, but I've heard like he does an incredible job of differentiating them, and it's a shoo-in for Emmy nomination, if not the win.
Okay, well that's good at least. I was gonna say, if you're gonna kill someone off, commit to it. But if he's really good at separating his performances, they should go for it.
I mean, they've said too, like, Secret Wars is all about the different universes and the big fight between variants of certain characters. Because like right now, there's Deadpool and Wolverine, and that features many variants of Deadpool. So Tony Stark could reappear in Secret Wars, but it'd be a very different version of Tony Stark. Maybe somebody who is like all about, no, I just want to take over the world and be considered a god. But we'll have to see what actually happens with that. And I will say, to your point about enjoying like Titanic and Stoner movies, I'll admit I'm not like, oh my god, Titanic's the best thing ever. As I said in that first episode, I respected what efforts they went in to make that movie, and performances were fine and everything. I don't nothing against Leo or Kate Winslet or anything, but I'm just not a huge fan of that one. It's a little too long for what it is, I think. But then
yeah, it was pretty long.
the stoner comedies like Apatow movies, like there's 40-Year-Old Virgin, Knocked Up, Pineapple Express, a lot of that stuff. I'm a huge fan of that. I will watch anything Apatow as a producer or director on, because I think he makes very fine movies, and I think he's had some of the best comedies of the past few decades, because I've always argued it's a combination, almost kind of like how they did Iron Man. They come up with a script, but then he allows a lot of improvisations and keeps it fresher. And then I know he's always said like the smartest way to approach a good comedy is write it as a drama, and then you'll find the comedy moments later on. And I think it's usually movies that have a really good story and they're funny. I've seen a lot of comedies where it's like good story, but I don't think it's that funny, or it's kind of funny but the story is kind of weak. But yeah, I think some of these stoner comedies, if done right, can be very fun.
I mean, I don't know what to say about this movie. I think it's well put together, and I can see why people do like it. But I don't know, I think everyone has their personal preferences, and I'm not gonna be that person who's like a total hater. It's gonna be like, these movies are trash, blah, blah, blah. Now, I don't think they're trash. I just, I don't know. I can't get into it.
Come on now, offer up like, you know, what, I mean, do you think there's anything they could have done with it that would have been like, I would have appreciated it more if, as a movie if they could change this up?
I mean, I don't think anyone wants to hear what I would change, because I don't even like Marvel, but I don't know. And then I guess my favorite person in it is Spider-Man. Not in this movie, but like in
Marvel.
In Marvel, I like Spider-Man because he's just like this relatable guy who's like, oh, I guess it's a coming of age story, so I kind of like that. And he's like a high schooler by day and a superhero by night, and he has a good sense of humor. I love Robert Downey Jr. I think he's a really good actor, but he's very, very serious. And I'm usually someone who enjoys a lot of comedy, so.
See, I mean, I feel like you're missing the point that he like, as Tony Stark, he's a total wise ass. And there's a lot of wisecracks in it. Now maybe you don't appreciate them as much as I think a lot of other people did. But
I did not.
fair enough.
I don't know, I just. What do you want to know? What do you want to know what I thought about it?
I mean, well, here I'll bring up something else I thought was really cool, but
Okay.
I always appreciated the idea of like, there's this billionaire, made his money off of weapons, and the intention was that like these weapons would be used to take down the bad guys and keep innocent people safe and whatever. And then he finds out that his weapons are being used against the innocent people by the bad guys. And so he decides, well, I don't want to make weapons anymore if this is going to keep happening. And also, you know, he comments, you know, I should be dead, you know, I survived for a reason. I'm going to help these people because I made the weapons that are hurting them. And it's like, it's such a commendable thing. I mean, would we ever get that in the real world even? Like, the guy who creates something that's able to kill a lot of people, and then it gets used to kill innocent people, and then he's like, oh, you know, that's wrong. I feel like a lot of real world people would just be like, I don't know anything about it, and just keep reaping in the billions.
Yeah, that was an interesting way for them to approach the story. It didn't interest me, but like I said, I can see why people like it. There's a lot of world building that goes on. Yeah. I mean, what did you think I was going to say?
I mean, I just figured you'd either be like, I'm starting to come around to it a little bit, or you would just be like, it's just, to me it's total crap or whatever. And I mean,
So I'm more in the middle now?
I mean, I don't know if you're middle, but you seem reticent to really say a whole lot, because it's like.
Well, I don't know what to say,
I
because I just didn't connect with it at all.
suppose this is almost like when we watched Devil Wears Prada, where it's like, you had more to say about it than I did.
Yes, I think that's definitely how it is, because I mean, I don't know anything about Marvel. I don't know anything about Robert Downey Jr. Don't know any lore or anything. It was just me going into it blind as somebody who is notorious for not liking superhero movies.
Fair enough, yeah. I mean, yeah, I only know about the Robert Downey Jr. stuff because I've read some stories here and there, and I know like he's been arrested and everything. But yeah, I think just that he got his life turned around, which is very commendable. And like Marvel, that's another thing that was so cool to me about a lot of these Marvel movies is compared to DC. Like when I watch like Iron Man and Hulk and Thor and all that, Avengers movies, it made me want to actually get the comics and start reading them a little bit to see like, oh, interesting, like this is how they did it in this version, this is how I did in that version. Like DC, like nothing against DC, I think Batman and Superman are fine characters and they've had some very fine Batman and Superman movies, but their universe has not gone well, mostly because I think Zack Snyder is one of the worst filmmakers of all time. I mean, he did Watchmen, which I enjoyed, but I think 300 was wildly overrated, and in general, I just don't think he can make good movies.
Shade.
Yeah, I'm sorry, maybe James Gunn will bring it around. I know James Gunn's quite capable. Guardians movies were quite fun, but yeah, I don't think Zack Snyder knows what he's doing really.
Well, if it makes you feel better, I don't like DC either.
I mean, that's why now all the next movie's gonna be DC. Just kidding.
No.
But no, I guess I don't know if there's much else I would say. Do you have any final things to add?
Let me really rack my brain here. Is there anything else I can say about Iron Man?
Did you at least appreciate the music?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it had all the markings of a good movie. I think it's just one of those things where it's an unpopular opinion,
Yeah.
you know? And
So, speaking to Spider-Man, there's been 3 different actors playing Spider-Man by now.
yeah,
Have you watched all the different movies featuring the different actors, or are you just
I actually have.
Okay.
I mean, not like every single. I know I've seen all the Tom Holland ones.
Okay.
And
I would argue they're the best. Granted, they have an unfair advantage
Really?
being part of MCU, but
okay, interesting. I would totally thought you would have said Tobey Maguire.
my only problem with the Tobey Maguire series was Goblin in the first one looks too much like a Power Rangers villain to feel like threatening.
Oh, it's
It's
kind
like,
of
yes,
funny.
he kills people, but it's a silly outfit. It looks silly, let's be real. It looks silly. And that kind of hurts it him as a villain, I would say. Otherwise, the movie's pretty fun, but
Okay.
just a silly costume for the villain. And even in No Way Home, they show early on where Willem Dafoe smashes the mask to imply, yeah, we recognize that this was not a great costume that they used for that movie. Spider-Man 2 was really cool. They had some interesting ideas, he loses his abilities because he's questioning if he should still be Spider-Man, because he wants to be with Mary Jane, but being Spider-Man is causing issues for that.
Mhm.
And then the third one ends up just being kind of silly, and when he's Venom and then he's acting all emo and just kind of being an ass, it's ends up being more silly than kind of threatening or oh, what are they doing here? So
Mhm. Interesting. I mean, I thought they all did a pretty good job with Spider-Man, but I think the ones I enjoyed most were the Tom Holland ones.
so yeah, it's something we are agreeing on, that
Yes.
Tom Holland did a great job in the role, and
Mhm.
those are probably so far the strongest Spider-Man movies that have been put out there.
Yeah, I guess I just like a superhero who's just relatable to me. I feel like Spider-Man's kind of relatable to me, when he first gets his powers and kind of shows his transition from this kid who doesn't really know anything to this, full blown. Well, even by the time he harnesses his powers and he's experienced, he's still just a funny guy and still doesn't have it all together, which I really relate to because I'm a junior in college, so people expect me to have it all figured out, but I don't.
I mean, I don't know who expects college kids to have anything figured out really, because I don't know anybody aside from if you're going to Ivy League colleges, you don't have anything figured out, I don't think. 'Cause
No.
only in Ivy League colleges are your parents really on your case about, oh, you're going to become a doctor or a lawyer or something.
Mhm.
And I'm sure there's plenty of people out there that would say that's not true, and I'm sure it's not entirely true, but I think generally it's more with Ivy League colleges where you're expected to have it figured out.
Yeah.
But I digress on that, so I guess right now I'll ask you, do you know what your next movie's going to be? What's your next pick?
Well, this was a pretty cruel one, Jeremy, I must say. This was pretty cruel.
I remember it was cruel to you.
I mean, you knew I wouldn't like it.
I know you're not a huge fan of the Marvel movies, but it's not like I picked something where I'm
Yeah.
even I think this is kind of crap. So, I picked what I consider probably the third best Marvel movie.
Okay. What's the best one?
I still go with Captain America Civil War.
Oh.
And then number 2 would be the first Avengers movie.
Oh God. No.
Or you think I'm gonna say, oh, you must watch that now or something?
Well, you said that the sub movie you want to do soon connects back to this, and I was like, oh no.
I'm gonna make you watch the 3-hour one next.
Oh God.
No. But, no, I mean, mostly the reason I like the first Avengers so much is because what could have been a massive disaster where they focus too much on one or two characters and then other characters get sidelined. They actually did a good job bringing all the characters into it, and it was a simple story, but it was done very well.
Well, since you gave me one that, you know, it's more of a risk whether I would like it or not. This is one of my favorite movies from my childhood. How do you feel about animated movies?
I mean, I guess it depends on if it's well done, because, I mean, I think there's nothing wrong with watching an animated movie. I just hate it if it's something that's, oh, it's for kids, like, there's really nothing in there an adult could appreciate. Like, that's why I think, like, Pixar is quite good at giving, even Disney generally, they can give you something that's got, you know, it's aimed for kids, but it's got plenty of, like, little nuggets in there that adults can appreciate, that would, like, references that would go over a kid's head.
Well then, you actually might love this movie, because I rewatched it for the first time recently after having watched it so many times as a kid. And I mean, every second there was something that had gone over my head when I was a kid. I think this is one of the most brilliant animated movies ever.
Oh, well, let's have it.
Over the Hedge.
Yes, I have seen that. It's been a long time since I've seen it. Actually, years ago, even considered buying it, but I never did. It's got a great voice cast. I like all the actors and everything.
Yes, and you'll also notice the music by Ben Folds.
See, I'll admit I don't know Ben Folds nearly as well as many people.
Okay.
Everyone I know, I think, that's heavily into music knows Ben Folds. I really don't.
Well, I didn't really either until like my mom told me about him, and then I rewatched the movie and I was like, whoa, this soundtrack is so good. But yeah, I think Over the Hedge has a ton, well, we'll talk about this more next week, but it has a ton of references just about living in the suburban lifestyle that I didn't really get when I was a kid. But you know, now you listen to the lyrics of those songs too, and you're like, ah. So that's just a little snippet of what you'll hear for our next podcast.
And of course, this is proof that I appreciate a wider array of movies than she does.
That's not true.
Hey, you thought you were gonna make me suffer. It's like, no.
Well, I took a risk.
Eventually she'll pick Downton Abbey and like, really? But
No, I'm not going to do that because you haven't seen the show.
I saw the first episode a long time ago. I am curious to actually get into it, but gotta find time too, like, because obviously, you know, there's what, 5 seasons or something, and then I don't know how many episodes per season. It's gonna take a little while before I'm ready to watch the movie.
Wow, if you get into that, now we have something to discuss at work.
There's other things we can discuss. I think you just want to be very cherry picking of what you want to discuss. But, well, I guess I'll say thanks for watching and hope to see you next time.
Yes.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.